30th to order. Number 2, approval of minutes of November 16th. Motion by Mr. Fire, second by Mr. Rosendich. Comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Citizens' comments. We got any citizens' comments? Would you take the podium, please? This is the Board of Public Works meeting. Are you aware of that? Okay, council would be later. Thank you. Okay, number 4, approval of additional pre-qualified contractors for 2020 and 2021 construction, presented by Tom Buttke, City Engineer. Tom.
All right, we have a bid that's going to be opening here in the next week or so, and the additional pre-qualifications for contractors who want to bid on that one. August Winter Sons of Appleton, A1 Excavating of Bloomer, Advanced Construction from Green Bay, Pember Companies of Menominee, Francis Melvin Incorporated of Abbotsford, Jake's Excavating and Landscaping of Ironwood, Michigan, and Integrity Grading and Excavating of Schofield. I'd recommend approval of the additional contractors for bidding on 2020 project.
Motion by Mr. Fire, second by Mr. Rosendich. Dan.
I just want to point out Tom's recommendation that talks about 2020 construction, but these are usually good for a year.
Yeah.
So these contractors will be qualified to bid for 2021. So the minutes will reflect that.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Fire.
How many of these are new, Tom, to us?
Actually, we pre-qualified every single one of these at one point or another in the past. So
Okay.
It's not that we have not used any, they may have not done any projects for us, but they have been pre-qualified in the past.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, approval of revision to policy 5.120, driveway aprons and entrances for special assessment credit for owner-supplied concrete driveway aprons, presented by Tom Buttke, City Engineer. Tom.
A resident on one of our Mill and Place projects from this year asked if the city would review driveway credits and how they're applied. In the event this property owner would prefer to construct their own concrete apron at their own expense, thus having city not complete the work in asphalt. But they did ask about how, if there was a different way of applying the credit that we've used in the past. In the Mill and Place process, it provides for driveway credits to be addressed during special assessments based upon the condition of the existing driveway. Current policy for the driveway apron on Mill and Place projects is as follows. Gravel aprons shall be restored in asphalt. Asphalt aprons are restored in asphalt, and in concrete or brick paver aprons are also restored in asphalt. Please note their special end wall treatments are not replaced. It is the responsibility of the property owner to remove and replace these end wall structures on their own. Existing driveway aprons are appraised and a credit is applied towards the new asphalt. Our current stormwater ordinance does not allow for gravel driveway aprons due to soil erosion. But in the event of a gravel apron, they get no credit. Asphalt with cracks, average 50% credit. Asphalt with no cracks, very good, 80% credit. And then new asphalt, 100% credit for a receipt that's less than 2 years old. I will use the resident's driveway in this example, and for the specific instance, the property owner had a concrete driveway apron over the culvert and would like to replace it themselves, thus versus having the city replace the concrete with asphalt. In the past, property owner would be responsible for 100% of the cost if they wanted to restore their driveway apron in concrete or brick pavers. In this instance, the owner is only requesting that the credit allowed for the asphalt apron be credited towards their final assessment, and that they would be happy to absorb the other costs associated with the construction of the concrete apron. In this instance, the resident's frontage is 87.5 feet at $1,215.64. They have a driveway culvert at 15-inch at 25 linear feet at $225. For a driveway apron, we would have given this is 50% cost, so 3-inch asphalt at 50.67 square yards would be $726.57. And the final assessment for this parcel was estimated at $2,167.22. By applying the credit towards their final assessment, their frontage and culvert would stay the same, but that $726.57 would be subtracted from that amount. Therefore, in this instance, the final assessment would be $714.07. I feel this would be appropriate to apply the credit towards the final assessment in these special instances, up to and not exceeding the total final assessment. Therefore, I'd recommend that policy 5.120 driveway entrances be amended to allow for the application of an equivalent asphalt driveway apron credit to be applied towards the final special assessment in the instance where the homeowner so chooses to complete the concrete work and brick paving outside the city's project. Note that said credit shall not exceed the total final special assessment. I've actually included a copy of the revised policy for your review, and it's basically the last paragraph where we talk about applied credit, and we're looking for, upon written request, a homeowner may choose to hard surface their driveway apron in either concrete 6-inch minimum with fiber reinforcement or brick pavers at their own expense outside of this project. If hard surfacing is completed within 1 month of the final asphalt placement for the adjoining mill and place project, driveway credit as described in section 6 of this policy, based upon the equivalent asphalt driveway apron, shall be applied towards the final special assessment for this parcel. Note that the credit applied shall not exceed the total final special assessment for that parcel. I'd recommend approval of this revision to the assessment policy on special assessments in mill and place.
Motion. Mr. Fire, second. Mr. Rosendich, thank you. Comments and questions? Go ahead, Mr. Bergen.
Thank you, Chair. So these people can just go ahead and do this on their own? Is there going to be an inspection done or anything after they do their aprons to make sure that they comply to 6 inch? I mean, 6 inch seems like a lot of concrete for a residential apron. How are we going to know they did it right?
Go ahead. 6 inches is what we use on all residential driveway aprons for concrete thickness. Any project that we do in the city of Marshfield is a minimum of 6 inches to basically avoid it from being failing. We probably would not typically inspect them. We could if you thought that was necessary. In some instances with the brick pavers, you're only going to have 3 to 4 inches of brick pavers to deal with, and that's not going to be 6 inches, but ultimately they're responsible for it from there on out. So therefore, you know, it's a recommendation to have it done in 6 inches to get the credit, but we want to have it done so that we don't have erosion from the driveway where it's sitting for a year, and that's why we asked for having it complete within a month.
Anybody else? My only question, Tom, you know, in that particular instance that we did the right thing and changed the policy somewhat. What about the culvert that's under the concrete in this case? That I would hope would be inspected so it matches, so you don't get water blockage. Go ahead.
In this instance, we redid the culverts and added underdrain in the entire ditch section on all these driveways, and that's why we had to remove the concrete to start with on this property.
Right.
And this homeowner understood that we would replace it in asphalt, but preferred to actually do it in concrete and was willing to accept all the costs associated with it, but asked us to review a possibility of just applying the asphalt credit.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, recommended items for future agendas. Anybody have anything? Entertain a motion to adjourn by Mr. Bargender, second by Mr. Fisher. Thank you, we are adjourned. I should ask that.
That's all right.
I forgot.